Right now, I think at this gold price of today, now is the time to get excited. Before I turn 65, I'm planning on making that my biggest season ever. Make some real money.
Tony Beets' entire season just got wiped out by a government order. But this wasn't about safety or pollution. It was about a 1-acre clerical error that cost him millions. As Tony's dream turned into a red tape nightmare, Parker Schnabel pounced.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? What did you sign last week?
A
Contract, right? Did you read the thing?
Yeah.
It said put in hydraulic riffles, right?
You just show up in the spring and shutting us down? Tony, we just got started sluicing. Really?
We're going to show you how Parker didn't just capitalize on Tony's failure, he orchestrated a master plan to dominate the Klondike. You won't expect Parker's record-breaking gold haul or the shocking betrayal that shattered trust, sending a once mighty gold empire crashing down when the government says no. The Klondike doesn't forgive mistakes. For Tony Beets, the self-proclaimed Viking of the North, this lesson came hard and fast. His grand plan for the Indian River claim, a place he believed held a fortune, came to a screeching halt not because of broken machinery or frozen ground, but because of a single piece of paper. The government shut Tony Beets down, and it happened in the most brutal way imaginable. The problem was his water license. It's funny when you think about it. A man who moves mountains of dirt and commands million-dollar machines was brought down by a typo. He thought his license covered a sprawling 15-acre plot. The reality? It was only good for one single acre. That 1-acre mistake turned months of sweat, planning, and burning thousands of dollars in fuel into a complete dead end. Inspectors showed up without warning, took one look at the paperwork, and pulled the plug. No arguments, no second chances, just silence, rust, and the bitter taste of wasted gold. The timing couldn't have been worse. Tony's crew had just resurrected his legendary wash plant, a behemoth that hadn't roared to life in nearly 5 years. They had spent weeks wrestling with rusted parts, stripped bolts, and cracked hoses.
Kevin can weld it.
Weld it without taking it off?
Yeah.
Might as well probably just take the thing apart.
No, you have no idea how lucky we are. If you're gonna have to take that off, so piece of cake.
They pieced together the rickety puzzle of dented steel, fighting every step of the way. The plant was a monster, capable of processing hundreds of cubic yards of pay dirt an hour, but it was also a relic. Just getting it to run was a victory in itself. The moment it finally clattered to life, the government shut it down. Imagine the morale of the crew. They sat idle, their massive yellow machines parked in silence, staring at the mud. The dream of a record-breaking season evaporated into a nightmare of red tape. Every passing day was money down the drain. The payroll for a full crew, fuel costs, equipment leases, it all adds up to tens of thousands of dollars a day. With no gold coming out of the ground, Tony was just bleeding cash. His entire operation at Indian River was frozen.
What happened?
We got him shut down.
He had no claim to work, no way to generate income, just bills piling up like cordwood and a crew losing faith. His only option was to retreat to his old stomping grounds at Paradise Hill, a last-ditch effort to salvage what was left of the season. But Paradise Hill had been sitting cold for over a month. The roads were washed out, the machines were rusting, and time was running out. Meanwhile, just a few miles away, a completely different story was unfolding. Parker Schnabel's camp was a picture of ruthless efficiency. While Tony was tangled in a bureaucratic mess, Parker was printing gold. His state-of-the-art wash plants, Big Red and Slucifer, were running smooth as glass.
Parker has bet $15 million on buying 7,500 acres on Dominion Creek, making him one of the biggest claim holders in the Yukon.
Gobbling up pay dirt 24 hours a day. His crew moved with military precision, every action mapped out, every decision backed by data. There was no chaos, no guessing games, just clean, methodical work. Parker wasn't just mining, he was building a gold empire in real time. He had invested millions in new ground, trusting the drill results that promised rich deposits. While Tony was fighting with 5-year-old rusted bolts, Parker was watching his investment pay off in spectacular fashion. The contrast was brutal. One miner was fighting for survival, the other was rewriting the record books. The government shutdown didn't just stop Tony, it opened the door for his biggest rival to take over the Klondike. But the real gut punch wasn't the shutdown or Parker's success, it was a betrayal brewing within Tony's own family. Gold, blood, and betrayal. When a family like the Beets splits, it's not over spilled coffee, it's over control, pride, and mountains of gold. Right when Tony's season hit rock bottom, a move from inside his own camp made everything 10 times worse. Kevin Beets, Tony's oldest son and heir apparent, walked off his father's claim and joined the one crew Tony could never stand to lose to. Parker Schnabels.
Well, then I feel better about helping you, because I'm like, if this is just like Tony's thing, then Tony can deal with his. But congrats on doing this.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
The thing is, this wasn't just a job change. This was a declaration of war. A move so bold it cracked the Beets dynasty right down the middle, leaving years of sweat, loyalty, and family history in the dust. To understand why this was such a big deal, you have to understand the Beets family dynamic. Tony carved his empire out of the frozen Yukon dirt by yelling louder, digging harder, and never ever quitting. His kids grew up in this world. No cartoons or soft hands for them. Their childhood was filled with the smell of grease, the roar of engines, and the weight of rocks. Kevin, as the firstborn, was the one everyone figured would take over, the one to wear the Viking crown. But mining doesn't care about expectations. Underneath all that gold dust, things were tense. Kevin was wired differently.
Mixed feelings coming back. I expected the trommel to be further along. I think it's been almost 10 months since the trommel's run. And it's very frustrating with Tony. I don't think he quite realized how much of that me and Faith took on.
He liked numbers, efficiency, and making things better with smarts, not just brute force. He'd gone to college learning about computers and leadership and came back with fresh ideas. Tony, on the other hand, was old school. His rules were simple. More dirt, bigger machines, less talk. The clashes started small, arguments over a drill setting or a haul truck's route. Over time, they grew into a constant source of friction. Kevin saw ways to optimize, to cut waste, to use data to mine smarter. But Tony had the final word, and that word usually came out loud and sharp. As the Indian River operation began to fail and the shutdown loomed, the pressure cooker exploded. Kevin watched his father double down on old habits while the claim bled money. He looked across the valley and saw Parker Schnabel's crew flying. Less shouting, more progress. New tools, better timing, fewer breakdowns. Kevin paid close attention. Then he walked. One day, he packed his bags. No big dramatic fight, no grand announcement. He was just gone. He drove over to Parker's camp and started working. That single move sent shockwaves through the Klondike. It was personal. Tony tried to brush it off, keeping his voice steady and the machines running, but everyone saw the truth. You could see it in the way he slammed the excavator door. Years of raising a son to be a miner, of working side by side through freezing winters and muddy springs, were gone in one quiet exit. The move paid off immediately for Parker. Kevin clicked into Parker's system like he'd been there from day one.
Hey, Parker.
Hello. You here for a rock truck?
Here for a rock truck, hopefully, yeah.
You can definitely buy the E.
I have been looking at that one the hardest.
Tires might need air and stuff.
He wasn't just a good mechanic, he was a strategic asset. Parker let him tinker, let him tweak the system. Kevin brought in new routines and small innovations that had a huge impact. The crew moved faster. Downtime decreased. The cleanups got bigger. Kevin didn't just change jobs, he changed the game. It was a massive strategic victory for Parker. He didn't just gain a skilled foreman, he took a key piece from his rival's chessboard and, in doing so, gained invaluable insight into Tony's operation. This kind of drama isn't new to Gold Rush. Back in the early days, the Hoffman crew was a hotbed of conflict. Tensions erupted between Jim Thurber and Greg Remsburg until Thurber was eventually forced out. Later, Dave Turin walked away from that same crew after years of frustration over bad deals and poor leadership. But the Beets family collapse felt different. This was father against son. The betrayal left a deep wound, and while Tony tried to push forward, the gears of his operation were grinding without the one person who knew them best. And as Tony struggled to pick up the pieces, Parker was about to hit the biggest jackpot of his life. How empires are built. Ever look at a muddy, God-forsaken pit and think, that's where a fortune is hiding? Probably not. But Parker Schnabel did. He turned that thought into action, and the result was a season that will go down in Gold Rush history. While Tony Beets was battling regulators and his own family, Parker was quietly hauling in enough gold to make headlines.
7,427.25 ounces.
We're not talking about a good season, we're talking about a legendary one. The final tally was an unbelievable 7,300 ounces of gold. That's over 450 pounds of the yellow stuff. At today's prices, that's worth well over $10 million. What's wild is that his original goal was 5,000 ounces. To beat that target by over 2,000 ounces is almost unheard of. This wasn't a quick payday or a stroke of dumb luck. This was the result of years of planning, relentless work, and smart, calculated risks. He had poured millions into buying his own land, a massive risk for a young miner. But his drilling program, using modern techniques to sample the ground, told him the gold was there. He bet big, and he won big. Let's break down how he pulled it off. First, the equipment. Parker runs one of the most sophisticated operations in the Yukon. His wash plants are custom built for maximum efficiency. His fleet of rock trucks and excavators is modern and well maintained. While Tony was fighting to keep his ancient dredge alive, Parker was leveraging technology. He used drones to survey the land, creating detailed 3D maps to plan the most efficient cut. This allowed his team to move dirt with surgical precision, minimizing waste and maximizing profit. Every gallon of fuel, every hour of runtime was tracked and analyzed. It was a business, not a treasure hunt. Second, the crew. A leader is only as good as his team, and Parker has built a crew of loyal, skilled professionals. With Kevin Beets now running the day-to-day on one of his sites, Parker had a formidable leadership team. They worked around the clock in shifts, keeping the plants running 24/7. When a belt snapped or a pump failed, they didn't lose days. They swarmed the problem and had it fixed in hours, sometimes minutes. That kind of efficiency doesn't just happen, it's built through trust and a shared goal. Third, the conditions. Parker got a little help from the market. The price of gold stayed high throughout the season, making every ounce pulled from the ground more valuable. At the same time, fuel costs remained relatively low, which is a huge factor when your machines burn thousands of gallons a day. But here's the trick. Favorable conditions don't guarantee success. You have to know how to take advantage of them. Parker's lean, efficient operation was perfectly positioned to capitalize on the market, turning good conditions into a record-breaking haul. The scale of this operation is hard to comprehend. Moving enough dirt to get 7,000 ounces of gold is like moving a small mountain.
When we started, I said we needed 80 ounces for it to be good, so I think that's a damn good result.
Gotta cheers to that, man.
It's our own ground, and I'm excited about it.
But with that much gold comes a new set of problems. Security became a major concern. You better believe that when word gets out about a haul that big, you become a target. The site transformed from a dig zone into a fortress. More cameras, more guards, and fewer loose ends. Every nugget had to be accounted for and secured. It's a high-class problem to have, but a problem nonetheless. Parker wasn't just digging gold. He was building an empire, proving that the future of mining belongs to those who combine hard work with smart strategy. But does this massive success mean the old ways are dead? And is it possible we're missing the real story? Old school versus new school. So when you boil it all down, you're left with two completely different stories. On one side, you have Tony Beets, the grizzled veteran, a legend in his own right, who had a season from hell. He was crushed by government bureaucracy, betrayed by his own son, and left fighting for scraps with aging equipment. On the other side, you have Parker Schnabel, the young gun who played his cards perfectly and walked away with a $10 million jackpot. It's easy to look at this and think it's just a simple story of old school versus new school, of outdated methods getting crushed by modern technology. But is it really that simple? Let's talk like we're sitting at a bar in Dawson City. Does all this happen overnight? You watch the show and you see Parker hitting the mother lode while Tony's camp looks like a disaster zone. It makes you wonder, are we missing a key detail here? The thing is, Parker's success wasn't just about having shiny new toys, it was about a fundamental shift in mindset. For years, gold mining was about gut instinct and grit. Tony is the embodiment of that philosophy. He can look at a piece of ground and feel if there's gold there. But Parker represents a new way. He trusts data more than his gut. He invested heavily in drilling and testing before he ever moved his wash plant. He knew where the gold was, how deep it was, and the best way to get it. Tony gambled on Indian River. Parker made a calculated investment. It's funny when you think about it because luck is always a factor. Did Parker get lucky that the ground he bought was so rich? Absolutely. There's no geologist on Earth who can guarantee a 7,000-ounce season, but he put himself in the best possible position to capitalize on that luck. He minimized his risks by doing the homework. Tony, by contrast, went all in on a claim with a known history of challenges and an ancient wash plant that was a massive liability. The shutdown over the water license was just the final nail in the coffin of a plan that was already on shaky ground. Is Parker's high-tech approach the only way to win, or did Tony just have a run of terrible luck? Let us know your thoughts below. Smash that like button and subscribe for more.